Welcome back to Inside South Florida. A loophole in Florida law does not require residential property owners to tell tenants that an employee of that property owner is a registered sex offender. Here's attorney Christopher Marlowe, the man trying to change all that. Christopher, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good morning.
All right, so you have written a bill for a law that astonishes me that it's not already a law. It's disgusting that it's not. I'm gonna have you explain it, but anyone who's a parent needs to stop what you're doing and listen to this right now. So tell us what you're working on.
Well, I think a lot of people would be surprised that in Florida there's no prohibition against, there's no law against sex offenders being landlords with keys to your house. They can come into your house to do repairs for fixing the plumbing, fixing the electricity. Everybody thinks that we're safe from sexual predators in Florida because there's been this crackdown on sex offenders, and there really hasn't been, not in all the important ways. Yeah. Sex offenders can't live within 1,000 feet of your house, of your school. They can't live in all kinds of places, but there's nothing that speaks to where they can work, including residential properties with children. And we discovered this through several cases actually that we've been working on, that although sex offenders are living under bridges in Miami, nobody has a problem with that because of all the restrictions in that regard. There's nothing to keep a sex offender from being hired to serve your home.
Yeah, so if you're a family with children and you move into a rental property or home or whatever it is, the property manager does not have to tell you that they have a sex offender, registered sex offender in their employ, correct?
Absolutely, you're correct. There's no requirement for them to let you know. The person signing your lease paperwork could be a sex offender. There's no obligation for them to tell you that. There's no obligation to tell you whether they do any background screenings whatsoever, including for sex offenders. So although the people all around us, and there are 68,000 of them in Florida, there's 1 in every 1,000 people who's in Broward County is a registered sex offender. Any one of those people may have to stay away from the nearest bus stop, but there's nothing to keep that same person from having direct access to your home and the same keys that you and your family have.
There's a scene in the movie Big with Tom Hanks when he just raises his hand and he just goes, "I don't get it." And that's how I feel right now. I don't get it. How is this even possible?
It's possible because nobody's thought about it. Nobody's thought about it until now, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of these kids had to learn really the hard way. I looked at the same facts as, you know, you're sitting here and the people are sitting at home, and I said, wait, how can this not already be illegal? There's got to be a law on this. Right. We talk about sex offenders too much in our country in general. Who can be the toughest politician on crime and on criminals? Certainly this is covered. And we discovered that it's not.
All right, so where are we now? So you've written a bill. What are the next steps? What are we doing?
Well, right now I'm trying to encourage every man, woman, and child in this state to encourage their elected representatives, directly the politicians throughout the state, the governor, and anyone else who recognizes this as the terrifying reality that it is, to endorse this bill, to sponsor it, to help us, to reach out to us proactively and say, no, I agree with you, Mr. Marlowe, this isn't okay. This is also a surprise to us. And as long as that's the case, as long as people agree that sex offenders shouldn't have the key to your house, right, assuming we all agree on that, let's help make it so that that's no longer the case.
So, all right, so what do we do? So there's a website now, so you want people to go to the website, sign a petition, right? And then once you've accrued a bunch of signatures, what do we do?
That's right. It's called saferenting.org. We established it as a direct result of learning of this reality. We want people to go to saferenting.org. And I'm not talking about just families with children. I'm talking about our elected leaders in the state who are tough on crime. To go to that website, sign it, sign that petition. Let's show people that we're serious about this. Reach out to us. We will work together to get something meaningful done here so that at minimum, when you go in to sign your residential lease, there's an additional piece of paper within that lease, just along with your lead disclosures, your asbestos disclosures, that says, I have sex offenders working here.
Right. Take nothing away from lead or asbestos. I understand the concerns there, but this seems like a more legitimate and pressing concern than any of those other ones.
Well, it certainly is when you see the numbers on how many kids have been hurt by the absence of a law on this.
Well, listen, good luck. You're doing great work. It's super important. And come back and update us with how it's going, all right?
Certainly will.
Thanks, Christopher.
Been a pleasure.